everybody, welcome. You're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the topic at hand in the description, which is exotic meats, using them in witchcraft, bones, skins, furs, etc., right? Like, it's all something that can be utilized. If you're going to consume the animal, like a lot of us do eat meat, I know a lot of us are vegetarian and vegan, and I think that those are great practices if that's how your body feels and you feel your body feels energized with that. My body never felt energized vegan, but I did it for 3 years, and like you guys know, I lost so much weight, and I got down to a scary level of weight. So anyway, for me, my body needs like organ meats and things like that. Livers, hearts, gizzards, chicken gizzards are amazing. And so I don't live in the South, right? But my mother's mom is from Oklahoma. So they cook all the stuff, and they grew up on a farm, right? So, and I remember as a girl eating, like, because we raised our own cows, we had cows that were pets, and then we had cows that were food. And you kind of have that's an interesting relationship, you know, like the difference between the two. I'm going to say hi to everybody who's joining. Nice to see you. But hey, Whispers of Three, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Hey, Brittany, it's so good to see everybody. So, like, you know, when you get down into, like, the southern type of states, you'll find a lot more of those things on the menu, etc. But up here in, like, Washington and the Northwest, we have rural areas too. And, like, in Idaho, you can find things like gizzards on a bar menu. Anyway, so I just wanted to talk about, like, how you can utilize things from the supermarket in your witchcraft workings. And first off, I want to talk about something that I ate last night, which we used to eat as a kid and we used to catch in the pond, which are bullfrogs. And I love frog legs. They kind of taste, they don't taste like chicken in my opinion. I know a lot of people say that. I think that they taste more like if you had exotic meats before, maybe like alligator or snake, maybe mixed with chicken. So there's like, it's got its own kind of gaminess. But one thing that I was thinking when I saw the frog legs in the store, which I always get so excited about because I don't have to go catch them anymore. And if you don't know how to catch bullfrogs, it's actually super fun. You go out at night with a flashlight, and you know, your method of bringing them home is your method of bringing them home. But the act of going out just to, you could just go out and not to get frogs to eat, but just to like go out to commune with the frogs at nighttime. And it's so cool because like all the sounds of ribbits and all of that, it's really fun. But you know, frog legs, right? Frogs, money. Frogs, money. So I'm gonna show bones. Okay, so I'm gonna lift this little plate up and show you guys some bones. These are the bones of my frog legs. These big ones are like the femur bones. And so I'm going to get all of the cartilage and all of the bits off of there, clean them off really well, and then I will make a special thing for my money altar with them. Another thing I thought, like, if we're doing intuitive magic, if we're doing, like, you look at something and you say, that makes sense to me this way. So monies was one thing I thought of for my frog altar, for my money altar. And then the other thing was jumping out of a situation, right? Frog legs are like, they can jump really far and they can get away from predators pretty easily if they're like quick enough to jump. So jumping like as a defense is something that really vibrates there, and I thought, you know, like jumping out of a situation. So I'm saving some frog bones, some of the other leg bones, the smaller ones, for workings. I might make like a necklace out of one for like money in abundance. Who knows? I don't know. But I just thought that they were too cool not to show you guys. And they're really inexpensive. We got, and they're big, like, there's a good amount of meat on them. Like, they taste good. I don't really know how to explain it. I know it sounds funky, like it would sound like eating a slug or something, which, by the way, I've done. My brother made me do it. It was not fun. This isn't like that. And it's way better than, like, escargot if you've ever had snails. But yeah, I just, like, put them in flour, and in my flour, I either use, like, Louisiana flour, or I will just do white flour with like some paprika and some cayenne pepper to give it a little bit of color and then taste, and then a lot of salt and pepper. And then you dredge the frog legs that are a little bit damp because you've rinsed them off into the flour, and then you put them in some oil to fry them up. And crunchy golden brown on each side, however you like them. I think that they're amazing. You could steam them, you could do whatever. They're really tasty, and they give you a lot of nutrition, in my opinion. So, now that we're done talking about frogs, and if you guys have any ideas for frog leg bone, what you could do with it, I just think it's so cool not to use, right? Like, it's too cool to throw away. Yeah. Hence why my room is full of jars of stuff. But that is okay with me. I like it that way. So, frog leg bones. Frog femurs. Pretty cool. Now, let's talk about other things that I have in my fridge right now that I'll be using this week. So, I take care of my dental work myself, which means that I try to particularly look at the foods that I eat to rebuild my teeth. And if you guys are ever wondering like how to do that, I read this awesome book called, I think it's just called like Natural Tooth Cures or Natural Tooth Miracle or something. But one of the big things that really helps with that is grass milk, Kerrygold butter, any grass yogurt, any dairy that's come from a cow that's fed on grass. Now, Kerrygold butter comes from Ireland, where they have this really particular way, and their cows eat rapidly growing fresh green grass. And that makes their colostrum, which is like their milk that comes before the milk, turn orange. And that orange colostrum can like rebuild your teeth. It can push plaque off of your teeth. It can take care of cavities. It can avoid a root canal. Like, it's pretty crazy amazing. So I have a friend, and we're like trying to better our lives together, like looking to each other for support and stuff. And I'll have to say that, like, you know, we're trying to stop drinking, which is awesome for both of us, and we're trying to eat better, even though we don't have a lot of money to spend. So, little things that you can do that are inexpensive, like if you can't afford this expensive, organic, beautiful milk and the Kerrygold butter and all of that, organ meats. And that's how I'm tying this back into the title of the video, organ meats. So, the organ meats that I have in my fridge right now are, now remember you guys, I'm different than a lot of people, so just take me as I am. I'm trying to be honest about it. So I have beef heart. I have a half of a beef heart. They're actually really big, but I have like a half or a quarter. And that cost me $3 or $4. And beef heart you can eat for self-love workings. You can massage it with rose water because rose water is edible. And I love doing that. Just like when I did my cow tongue working, and I massaged the cow tongue with rose water because it was for like a sweet communication rather than like a shut up. Cow tongue is really tasty, by the way. Like, really, really tasty. I don't know, it's kind of like a steak. It tastes more like a steak than an organ meat, in my opinion. Is the tongue an organ? I don't know. It's just a muscle, right? So, yeah. Muscly little tongues. If you've ever been licked by a cow, it's the most funny thing in the world. Like, it's like being licked by a cat, but the biggest cat you've ever known. Like, their tongues are just like this big. Anyway, that was a treat when we were on the farm. Like, when it came time, it was like, I think maybe it was twice a year we had cow tongue, because we usually only, our family was of 5, so we only needed to butcher 2 cows a year. So we would have cow tongue like once or twice a year, which was always a fun night because our menu was pretty basic. Like, the same 14 things kind of in a loop. So, okay, organ meats. I have the beef heart. I love to use that for, and okay, so you can either do kitchen witchcraft with it and put your intention over it while you're cooking it, just like every normal person in the world or every muggle in the world will say, my most important ingredient is love. It absolutely is. If you're cooking for somebody to heal them, it absolutely is. So, love and light, right? So so the beef heart though, if you don't want to eat it and you want to do it in a like a physical working that you're gonna do, all you do is you get it and you can still massage it with the rose water. Great, it'll just be another presence, another element onto that beef heart or cow tongue or whatever you're working with, and then you can put it in your dehydrator. And if you're going to put it in your dehydrator and you're you know, you need to, like, if you're gonna do meats, chicken feet, things like that, I would have a separate dehydrator or be really anal about like cleaning it thoroughly, because dehydrators don't bring the temperature up to enough to kill bacteria in meats. Okay, so that's important. So I luckily have one that's just for meats and just for things that are like poisonous and meats. In that dehydrator, I would never take something out and eat it or put it into a tea or anything like that. So let me show you the dehydrator trays that I use after I cut up my organ meats to dry them out, because there's so many organ meats out there and they're just so inexpensive and they're going to waste. That's the thing. They're going to waste. That's why they're so inexpensive in the grocery store. So I got some, I'll show you the tray, and I will tell you what other organ meats I'm using this week. Okay. So you have your dehydrator tray, right? Go to Amazon or wherever you want to go and get some of these, which I got to do raw foods, like make my own granola and like sprouted buckwheat, dry it out, all that. But they're amazing for organ meats and things like that. For chicken's feet and stuff, you don't need it because they don't actually really drip. And they're not going to fit perfect on every dehydrator, but that doesn't matter as long as there's an air hole here. You can make these yourself, which I did before these came in the mail. And you get wax paper and you just put it over that and trace it and then cut it out, and you could just use wax paper. You don't have to spend the money to get, you know, it comes with like 6 sheets or something. You don't have to do that. But you will have to probably toss the wax paper when you're done using it. So I guess this is more of like a long-term something that you can sterilize and clean in that. I feel like I'm doing all the talking. No, I'm kidding. William Southwick, nice to see you. Hi, Jen. Finally made it to one of your lives. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Taxidermy Witch family. Everybody welcome William. Great to have you. So another thing that I would put on here to dry out as far as like organ meats to use for witchcraft. So since I just told you that thank you, Debbie. Then since I've told you that I've been talking to, excuse me. I gotta find my head. Hold on. What was I gonna say? Oh, since I told you I've been trying to like quit drinking, which has been going like 3 days strong, which for me that's pretty good because I was using alcohol for anxiety and it wasn't helping. I mean, it was helping a bit, but after it wore off, it was horrible. It was like worse. So anyway, so doing good for 3 days, and when you stop drinking, and if you drink a lot or whatever, you will probably start to want to like repair your body and have more food in it and things like that. So I got livers, okay? So I got cow liver and I got calf livers. Now I know everybody's gonna go, oh my gosh, you got veal stuff? Okay, but listen, if nobody, like a lot of those, I've talked to many butchers because I have to ask them for the chicken's feet. I have to ask them for certain cuts of meat. I have to ask them if they can, like, you ask your butcher anything. They'll do loads of stuff for you. If you don't like the thickness of the steak that's in the drawer, you just tell them, like, hey, can you cut me some that are thinner? And they have the meat back there. Anyway, be friends with your butcher. Like, that's a good person to be friends with if you are using organ meats and animal parts in your witchcraft workings. Especially chicken's feet, you know, because most places have them, they're just in the back. So what I'm telling you about the calf, the veal, and the beef liver is that I'm going to do a working with it, and I feel like it would otherwise be not purchased and thrown away, you know. So this is for, you know, I'm giving up drinking, and at least for now, right? And I want to repair the liver, because that's where alcohol really affects, is the liver. And so I want to do a working with that. I'm going to eat some of it, which I tried to do last night, and it was really hard to do because it just does not taste good. So I ate a little bit of each, and then I'm going to be drying the rest out in my dehydrator. And so I will, and it's just a really, really squishy tissue. It's not even like, because it's not muscle, it's an organ. So basically, you know, you cut it into little tiny pieces. And let me show you my cow tongue. Liver and onions, yeah, liver and onions. Let me show you my dried cow tongue so you can get an idea of what it will look like when it's done. Where is my cow tongue? Let me think just a minute where my cow tongue is. Come on. Well, basically, it just ends up looking like jerky, y'all. I mean, it just looks like little pieces of dried meat. But you keep it in your dehydrator for until there's no more oil coming out of it. Like, that's how I do my meats in my dehydrators, is till no more oil comes out. And I'll take the chicken's feet out and I'll wipe them clean with paper towels or a towel, get all the oils off, and then put them back in there. We're just really trying to suck everything out. Jezebel's here! It's so good to see you. Yeah, Whispers of Three, the texture was why I had such a hard time eating it. Because for me, growing up on a farm, it's not hard for me to eat organ meats. It's a lot of time. Like, I'd rather eat beef organ meats over pork any day. You know, like in Japan, because I worked at a Japanese restaurant for loads and loads and loads of time. In Japan, the women eat the fish eyeballs for beautiful face skin. Yeah, they just... And I've had fish head soup, and I have eaten fish eyeballs, and they are trippy. They're trippy, but man, think about that. You can eat the eyes and do vision workings. You can dry the eyes, and you can do some really cool amulets. Now, I've never asked my butcher this before, but now I'm gonna. Do you have cow eyeballs? You know, because honestly, the cow is one of the coolest creatures I've ever had a chance to be a pet owner of. And I was a little girl, but I think that developed my, like, I think it was really a good outlet, if you will, for my empathy as a little girl. Just to go down and just, like, hug a cow. And I'm not kidding. Like, if you're just a little tiny girl and the cow's up here, you're just like, Junebug. That was my favorite cow's name, Junebug. So yeah, I mean, the way that a cow must see the world must be pretty damn beautiful, because their energies are just, a farm cow, their energies are just, make me want to cry to think about it, you know. It's been a long time since I've hugged a cow, and I'd really like to. I need to get some friends with cows. But yeah, one of the coolest animals, and I know that, you know, there's a lot of religions out there that don't eat beef because it's such a sacred animal. So, we all see things the way that we see them, and... No, Jez, I'm not suggesting that you eat eyeballs, but I'm just saying, like, around the world, of course, we, you know, eat all different kinds of things. And I think if we're trying to use every part of the animal, you know, and you're interested in doing those kinds of things, then you should think about it. Just like I thought of asking if they did have any eyes in the butcher. Cheers. Grass milk. Mm. That is good though. So, what else could we talk about? There used to be this really killer exotic meat store in Seattle. It's no longer there anymore, of course. But, what was it called? I think it was called Seattle Exotic Meats. or Shoreline Exotic Meats or something. If you guys are locals, I know there's a few of you or here are locals. Do you guys have any exotic meats where you are? Because I've been looking for one for a long time. I don't want it fucking shipped from Amazon, you know? So this exotic meat store had alligator, ostrich, kangaroo, which I know where it came from. We have a kangaroo farm like 3 hours away that I never knew about my whole life, but we went up there 4 or 5 years ago. There's this big old kangaroo named Jack there. He's hilarious. But yeah, like you can own a kangaroo if you like here in Washington. Uncle Badger's here. Hello and welcome. Nice to see you. What does grass milk taste like? It just tastes so good. Like, well, I drink whole milk, and I drink whole milk that has still the cream on top, like you would get in the UK. Like, it's not separated, you know. And I get the Organic Valley grass milk. Whole milk, though. It tastes rich. It tastes like cold hot chocolate with no chocolate. It's just really, really rich and creamy. And, I mean, you can see the thickness of, it's really white. But yeah, really, really helps rebuild teeth and bones. And there'll be a lot of people that tell you that that's not true. That's okay, because there's a lot of controversy on it. But, I believe that organ meats and grass milks and, the things I was talking to you about from that book, I'm living, breathing proof that, you know, it's helping to repair my teeth. So there's that. And I was all set and ready to go to the dentist, by the way, about 3.5 years ago. And I got x-rays and they told me everything I needed to do. And I was like, you know, and, the next day I found out I was pregnant, and so I couldn't. Haha! I was like, yes! I got out of it! I was so freaking happy. But the big, big deal for me is if you look into like Ayurvedic medicine and meridian lines, acupuncture, that kind of stuff, like meridian lines in the body. Do you guys know what meridian lines are? If you don't, say or look it up or whatever, but I will try to explain it if you guys don't understand it. The meridian lines in the body start and end on some of them with the teeth. And so, you know, they were going to do some extractions, they were going to do some whatever, and I was just like thinking about all the stuff I learned in massage school and all the stuff I learned when I was doing my Ayurvedic training and all of that, and I was just like, I'm so sad. But I still have all my teeth, you guys. I mean, they're not in great shape. They don't look good, but I'm doing my best to take care of them myself because I don't want mercury fillings. I don't want aluminum to be that close to my brain. I already have, like when I was a little girl, I was riding my bike and I fucking was trying to keep up with my friend, and I was going down a hill and I hit a rock, and next thing I was in an ambulance. I had like gravel stuck in my face, but my two front teeth, well, my one front tooth was bashed out and then the other one was broken half. And I remember all night long being at the emergency dentist with my mom, and like that traumatized me. That really traumatized me because I have to prepare for things. Like if I'm going to do something, I have to really get ready to do it. I got like, if one of you ever want a Skype call with me, I need to know like 3 hours ahead of time just so I can prepare myself internally. Anyway, it was not cool being like a 7-year-old kid and being shoved into emergency dentist all night long and just pain. And I was at dentists for 3 weeks straight because just complete raw nerve. If you guys saw Orange is the New Black, remember when her tooth broke off? Mine looked just like that. It was just right down the front. See, I have them. I have teeth. Good morning, Takesha. It's so beautiful to see you. Hello, Purple Panther. So great to see you. Are you new to the channel? If so, everybody welcome Purple Panther. Thank you, Uncle Badger, for welcoming him. Welcome to the Taxidermy Witch family. We're sitting here, we're talking about witchcraft, organ meats, repairing your body naturally. We kind of are a little bit off topic, but I can try and veer back. So other meats that are awesome to use, like if you are a person who this sounds like you would want to do, Why might we use kangaroo? Let's talk about that. Hey Mama Wolf, how are you? It's so amazing to see you. Why might we use kangaroo? Any part. The meat, the fur, any of it. Let's just throw some ideas out there for intuitive witchcraft. Because I want to get you guys active in intuitive witchcraft, you know? Um, and then I'll tell you my ideas after, because I of course have ideas. Of course I've got ideas. No, but if you're going to do grass milk, get the whole milk, because it's just like fruit. Everybody's like, oh, I'm not eating sugar. Like, okay, but fruit is not sugar. I mean, it has sugars, but fruit's not sugar. It doesn't act like that in the body. Fruit has everything your body needs and nothing it doesn't, and you can exclusively live on fruit and be fine. You can be fine just living on fruit. You'll have the healthiest digestive system. You'll have the cleanest body. Okay, I'm not going to go on a fruit raid or anything. But what I'm trying to say, why did I talk about fruit? No, lost it. Oh, right. The fats. The fats in the milk. Like, if you're like, oh, I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm not going to drink full fat milk. In my opinion, I would take off something else, maybe, like your toast with dinner, or I eat toast with dinner, your toast with breakfast, and instead, like, maybe do this. Because, I tell you what, I know for a lot of people, dairy gets, like, congestion and stuff like that. If that's the case, then you might want to, you know, not do so much milk. Yogurt is usually pretty good, like a probiotic yogurt, if you have a itchy throat with milks and dairies. But yeah, really feeling good, trying to like realkalize my body. I'm going to check my pH today, which will be a trip. I should have checked it like last week. I bet it was in the fives. I bet it was in the fives because my energy was down to nothing, and I, you know, was drinking alcohol and that kind of stuff. So I'm feeling amazingly good with 3 days without alcohol. And I'm just being honest because I know nobody wants to talk about bummer stuff. And if there's a group of people out there that want to talk about bummer stuff, let me know, because I've got so much to say. Is grass milk cow's milk? Right. It's cows that are eating actual grass, not like from the earth. So they're out grazing in the pasture and eating, nibbling as they walk around. Whereas the milk that is non-organic that you get in the store, even if it's organic milk, I don't think the cows are out there wandering around. You know what I'm saying? They're in their stalls. So grass milk, it costs about $1 more for whatever size you get, but it's about $1 more. For me, it's worth it. You know, and I'm not like a big milk drinker, but this tastes good. Thank you, Keisha. I'm loving the red hair too. My dad said he liked it a lot, and I was like, yeah, it's making me smile all the time. Biodynamic milk? I don't know, Jez. Grass instead of corn. Yeah, because they're just eating like feed and stuff, you know. They might, you know, the organic milk places, they might give them grass, but I don't think it's like, it's not grass. Unless it's grass milk. So you can get grass milk yogurt, you can get grass milk butter, anything that has milk as the base, you can get in a grass milk with Organic Valley. Which they don't promote me or anything. Oh yeah, my Patreon's down below. If you guys want to go view exclusive witchcraft videos, check that out. And, you know, Patreon saw my red hair before YouTube, and lots of cool stuff happening down there. Thank you for all the people that are here that are patrons. I couldn't live without you. I really couldn't. You guys are helping me. Cheers. Yum. It's like, it kind of tastes like candy, to be quite honest. Not candy, but at the end there's just this really sweet, fulfilling happiness that just lays in your mouth. I like that a lot. Oh, right. Lately, and when you start to kind of like do any kind of detox or cleanse, a lot of times people get sick. Lately I've been taking tequila's Never Get Sick tincture that I made out of Bragg's apple cider vinegar, echinacea, and elderberry. That's all it takes. And it doesn't take too long to actually make into the tincture, you could probably pull it as early as 3 weeks. But if you guys are worried about getting sick coming up, Lady Grave Dancer's done a video on this, and then I did like a video on mine. So make sure you do check out Tequila's video on, I don't know what it's called though, but it's a Bragg's tincture with echinacea and elderberry. I do want to say one thing about echinacea, y'all, because you guys know I love herbs. If the echinacea is not green, if it's brown, don't get it. And elderberries, man, I foraged a bunch of those. I can't wait till this runs out and I get to make a tincture with the elderberries I foraged, because that will be just so special, because it will be so much more magical, because the intent is there and so much energy is there. So you just get like a glass dropper, and or you could just take like, you know, a shot glass, maybe a half or a quarter. But in general, if you don't have the time to make a tincture, or you're waiting for your tincture to start working and you're getting sick, just start taking Bragg's. Okay, so Bragg's raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother, which is a probiotic. Okay? So that's why it's important it's Bragg's apple cider vinegar and not just any apple cider vinegar. However, if it has a probiotic in the mother, then you're fine. Because that's definitely a part of how that works and heals your body. Okay, what else? And you know what? Like if you take a little half a shot of Bragg's every morning, you will get rid of acid reflux, which is weird because it makes you feel like you have heartburn at first, but you don't. It's that. And Tums, they're actually really counterproductive. They make you feel better for a sec, but then they create more, like peptic acid, or Pepsid is what makes it feel better. Papaya seeds have Pepsid in them naturally. Pepsid. Like Pepto-Bismol. I think that's what's in there. Am I just rambling at this point? I'm trying to make this a focus topic. But the room is so quiet. What did you make up about cows, Uncle Badger? He says, I made that up about cows. I presume they may be eligible for cows. I wouldn't try it, though. I'll have to read that later. Cows like eating wine gums as well. Oh, I got you. You're hilarious, my friend. Alright, let me clean my camera off, and I will think of something else to talk about. That's better. Today I will be finishing one of the Oracle decks. I don't know which one, but I'm not going to go to sleep tonight until one of them's done. Because we are celebrating my daughter's birthday tomorrow, and that will be a really, really fun thing. And then, yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah, just good things are happening all around. All around the town, good things are happening. Alright, what should we talk about? Did anybody say what they could use kangaroos for? Did anybody have any... I will tell her happy birthday from every video. I sure will. Did anybody have any ideas on kangaroos? What kind of workings you could do with kangaroo fur or meat? You did answer? Okay, I'll have to look for it. Just stay right there. Don't go anywhere. To jump away or out of a situation. Absolutely. Jumping. That's probably their main thing that they're known for. And I will have to say that if you've never seen a kangaroo kick before, they're interesting. They sit on their legs, right? However their legs are. And they can pick up their legs and kick you, and apparently you can fly like 100 feet. Not 100 probably, but you can fly like really, really far from a kangaroo kick. And, you know, until I went to the kangaroo farm, I had never touched one. I had only seen them at the zoo or in films or, you know, whatever. They're the sweetest animals, but apparently, like, when they're in heat or when they're, yeah, like, I guess you just call it in heat, you don't want to like try and cuddle them unless they're over the hump of the age. Like there's this kangaroo there that was, I guess, like pretty old. His name was Jack, and he just chilled. Like he had a chair that he sat in. It was really trippy. It was like this big couch type of chair. And you could like go up and just cuddle with him. It was crazy. And the guy's like, "You want to feel inside the pocket?" And I'm like, "No!" No, I'm good. I think that's a little bit too much for me, but thank you. So, yes, let's talk. Kangaroo fur you could use to jump from a situation. You could use, let's think of some other stuff. So you could kick someone. So you could do a return to sender because they can jump up and kick like crazy. So you could throw energy back at somebody or do a blocking. Well, it's not really like a shield though. But it's your intuition. So wherever your mind takes you, that is a great thing. Next, let's talk about alligators. What could we do with alligators? Because that's another meat that you'll find in an exotic meat store. It's very tasty, very nutritious, in my opinion. You know, an alligator, the texture is kind of like a cross between like red snapper and snake, if you've ever had rattlesnake. If you've never eaten rattlesnake, you should, because and then do some yoga. I know that sounds so cliche because like kundalini and everything, but do some meditations after you eat some exotic meats. It's kind of a trip. Really interesting energies enter. So, you know, and then you want to make sure that your body is clean and protected for all of that too, because if anybody is a meat eater, you know, you're eating animal spirit. And if we're not giving thanks for our meal before we eat it and thanking the animals and plants on our plate, then I suppose somebody could have some bad energy enter their body. Sure, why not? But believe me, animals know that I respect them. And that I'll use every single part that I can. Like I said, we have frog legs. I'm going to show some bone cereal. These are the frog legs from my dinner last night. Putting them on my money altar because frogs are amazingly great for drawing monies. So I'll make some things with those bones, frog bones, and then I will probably make like a little necklace or amulet and maybe a tiny like little chime or something out of them to put above my money altar. That's actually what I'll do. I'll make them all into a chime and then I'll just keep maybe one for like a necklace for abundance or something. Oh, now I look like Pebbles because I have the hair, and if I have a bone necklace, that would be hilarious. Doesn't Pebbles have like a bone necklace? You know, in the Flintstones? And doesn't she have red hair? Or is that Wilma? I don't even know. But when I blow dry my hair before I flatten it a bit, I do look like a Muppet, and that's alright. Animal, in particular. Animal! So yeah, again, if you guys are wondering where to get these, go on Amazon and you can find some of these, or you can just make some out of wax paper, but those would be disposable. Alligator is used for death, and only to bring death in Jez's tradition. So only if you wanted to... Oh, wow! That's... Yeah, so that's a very, very... a tool that she probably doesn't use. You know what I'm saying? But... let me think of some things that I would use mine for. I'm obviously going to avoid it a bit now because that energy is attached to it for me now too. But I think you could put it in a death oil. You could use it for the death of a situation. You could, you know, do some other things that weren't, what's that stuff called? Goofer dust? I've never made any of that because I hear that, you know, you really can get, you know, if your goal is horrible, apparently goofer dust is the way to go. But most of the recipes that are out there aren't the appropriate recipe from what I understand. And you're not going to find it in a book. Generally, those are family traditions. And maybe that's kind of like Jez's tradition, kind of goofer dust. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, Jez. I'm just glad that you're here. So, outside of alligator, let's talk about some more snake. Okay, so snake. Rattlesnake tastes good. We could use snake for lots of different things. Now, I use snake sheds, like when a boa constrictor sheds its skin, I have a person that sends me their snake sheds. And so I use those, and invisibility workings is the biggest one for me with those. Also, there's a lot of herbs in Scott Cunningham's green book on how to, it's over there, I'm on how to call snakes, how to repel snakes. Now, we're not even talking about actually calling or actually repelling a snake. Maybe Scotty was in his book, but I'm not. When I'm talking about snakes, I'm talking about the snaky people in my life. Or I'll wear an invisibility necklace when I go out, not thinking that I'm in the movie Harry Potter and that I have a cloak of invisibility. That would be ridiculous. But you can enchant an amulet so that when someone looks in your direction, they just don't see you. They just don't notice you. They just won't focus on you. And if you're doing a snake repelling type of thing, then you're not going to let those people notice you. You know what I mean? Now, of course, if you don't want to be noticed, don't have loads of tattoos and red hair and a big cloud of smoke around you or whatever. You should really, if you really don't want to be noticed, put your hood on and go do your shopping. Who cares? Just if you're, if the agoraphobia gets too much, you can still get out, So keep charms, amulets, but let's talk about snake. Rattlesnake, like I say, it tastes like a cross between white snapper and like a fish, like a soft fish kind of texture. And it's also, when it's cooked, it's kind of that same color. But it's nice and it's oily. It's, every time I eat it, it kind of reminds me of jerky. Like when I get it in my mouth, I'm just like, this reminds me of jerky. But it's not chewy. It's just like something that it almost has like a smoked taste on its own to it, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. So snake, let's see what you guys said that we could do. So Whispers of Three said rebirth. I really like that. And that's a good one because, like, the Kundalini is something that's attached to snakes. For me, I'm always thinking about that in this up the spine of the back. But when it comes to snakes, I always think of stealth, like the word stealth, and being stealthy and unseen, sneaky, kind of like suspicious, or troublesome. I feel like the word snake has almost become a verb these days. Like, if you say he's a snake, it just means like a lot of things. A wand? That's a really good idea, actually. If you were able to keep a whole... Well, there's a difference between snake skin and snake sheds. Let's just get that clear. I use snake sheds. I don't own any snake skin. I would love to. If anybody has a snake they don't want that's taxidermied, you can send it to me. I will put it right here in every video. No, I really do want a taxidermied rattlesnake, though. They're awesome. I saw an albino one for $100, and I should have gotten it, and I just didn't have the money, But it's okay. Somebody else got it, and I'm sure it was amazing. It was just so beautiful. And it was, like, all coiled up high. It stood this tall, because a lot of times you'll see them taxidermied in a flat coil, and it's like, there's my snake. Is it real? Yeah. There's a difference between snake skin and snake sheds. Now, my dad is again, we came from farmland, we were farmers, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so he has a pair of vintage snake skin boots, and that's something that people that wear cowboy boots and stuff like to do. Now, what he said, when I was a kid, he used to say, whenever I wear these boots, I feel like I'm on top of the world. And he said they hurt his feet, and that was like one of the things that he hated. So something about that was magic for him. And, he didn't even realize where the energy was coming from, Or maybe he did. But I do, and I realize that, because he would always say that. He's just like, feels so good in these boots. So it was doing something for him that was helping. Maybe it was protecting some empathetic vibrations, you know, because I think that he's an empath as well. I've never talked to him about it, but... Alright, so next, what else could we eat? We talked about frogs, we talked about kangaroo, we talked about rattlesnake, we talked about, what else could we do? Ostrich. Ostrich. The giant bird. Emu is another one. So let's talk about ostrich and emu at the same time, since they're very, very similar. They have an ostrich and an emu at the kangaroo farm. Those emus are trippy. Let me tell you, if you've never seen one, they're flippin' gorgeous. Like, you think that this hair is pretty? Check out an emu. They're like, they've got this blue to them, and they're just so divine. If you look at their feet, they look like dragon feet. Like, I feel like you guys all should Google emu feet and just look at them at some point, but just a moment. Really good. It's so sweet. Emu and ostrich. Now, another thing that both of those birds can do is run really fast. So they're giant birds, you know, and they're far taller than people. So Uncle Badger says moving fast. Yeah, Takesha, I can send you some snake sheds in your order. Because you ordered a road opener oil, didn't you? So I'll put some snake sheds in there. Uncle Badger says moving fast. Yeah, they run really fast. Another thing is they have these big, weird, long, like, swan necks. And so maybe, you know, you could think of that big, elongated neck. It might remind some people of, like, you know, like, looking or vision or being able to see above everything else. I'm trying to just on a whim think of what a long neck reminds me of. So, also, they are birds, but they cannot fly. They can just run extremely fast. I think that they can flap their wings and get a little bit of pickup, but I don't think that they can fly at all. And I'm not 100%, so I apologize if I'm wrong. For bullying Michael Parkinson or making the road hole famous. Raven Song, hi, welcome! I etched an emu egg last year for a zoo auction. That's amazing! I think the pictures are on Instagram. Everybody check out Raven Song's Instagram. She has so much cool stuff there, and there's probably links to her Etsy shop as well, which is beautiful. The emu, they're, like I say, their feet, they look like dragons. They really, really do. And I could have an emu if I wanted to, because the state allows us to have them. I think the only thing we cannot have in this state is a pet fox. I think that is complete frickin' garbage, because you know how they've, like, domesticated pet foxes so that you can have them in your home if you have enough room for them to actually run, which is a big deal. I couldn't have one because I have too much stuff, but, like, if you're a minimalist and you have a huge house, get a fox. There's only 2 or 3 states left that the foxes still can't be had in, and Washington is one of them. Classic. So, but we can have kangaroos, and we can have, I don't know if we can have tigers, probably not. Texas can have all animals, though. Like, lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Yep, it's true. It's true, it's true. Is anybody interested in seeing my, Yule decorations from last year? I did videos on all of them. Like, we did a lot of DIYs, last Yule. And I have them downstairs. I could go get them if everybody wants to see them. Yes, please, Whisperers of Three said. Absolutely. Okay, good. Jen, I'll send you that clip to explain Rod Hull and Michael Park. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, just send it to me on Skype. Purple Panther says yes, please. Okay, you guys are just so awfully polite. You're so polite. Alright, I am gonna go. I'll be right back. I love Yule too. I do. And I have a lot of people that are sending me gifts. And I think what I'll do with all the gifts that come from here on out is just save them, because like I did last year, and then we had a Christmas, like a Yule or a Christmas morning together, and we opened all the gifts on a live stream, and that was like so rock and roll. So I think I'll do that. And then if anybody wants to send anything this way, like donations to the channel, like candles or, you know, herbs if you have too many of them, or herbs you grow, or, you know, all of these things I think are precious. Or bones and skulls and taxidermy, those kinds of things, you know, I just absolutely love it. So P.O. Box 383, Seabeck, S-E-A-B-E-C-K, Washington, 98380, United States of America. And that is my post office box. Jen the Taxidermy Witch. You could just put that on there. Alright, I'm going to go get the Yule decorations. And I will be back. They're just right down here. Where's my coat? It's cold down there. Cold in there. It's cold down there. Baby's cold outside. Okay, thank you for waiting. I'm back. I lost some of you, that's alright. Okay, so I have decorations and a Yule log, and then I'll talk about the videos, because I did a video on almost each one of these things. We did a lot of DIYs last year, because they were highly requested toward the end of the year for, pretty much after Samhain, everybody wants to do DIYs, or right around that time until about the first of the year, which is really cool. So let's first show this, which is the Yule log. And I will show you how I got the candles in there, because I thought, oh, I'll just melt them on top, but that wasn't going to work, because when the log sits down, it like tips a little bit. So you could certainly, if you didn't want that to happen, if you didn't want it to roll around, you could cut a little flat part onto the bottom with maybe your Dremel tool or a power saw or something. But what I ended up doing was, and I have a Yule log video, I ended up drilling holes into the inside that are about ½ inch deep. And so there are these candles, and then you might have to trim your candle to fit into that. But you just get a drill bit and you let it go, And then, I, like, not a Phillips drill bit type thing, but a flathead drill bit type thing, so that it makes a circle when it goes around in a flatness. In a flatness. I'm ridiculous, I know. So, the colors that you choose to use are up to you, but I used red and white because that was what the research was showing at the time. And, we talked a lot about the history of the Yule log in that video, I do believe. When I was in the store just yesterday, I saw a bunch of, because all the Christmas stuff is out, I guess, which is not cool because it's not even Thanksgiving yet, but anyway, a bunch of elves, and I was like, oh, Nissa! Because I taught you guys last year that elves came from, like, the Nissa, Nissa, and we talked about Odin and Santa. I love that video when we talked about Odin and Santa and all the parallels, which is so cool. And when I was driving into Houston, there's a huge Odin statue. No kidding, with like, I think 8 horses. I'm not kidding. Alright, so another thing we did last year on the channel was we made a corn husk. What is this supposed to be, you guys? I forget. Is it supposed to be a lamb? I made a video on it. It's supposed to, these are supposed to be horns. Oh, it's supposed to be the goat, I think. The Yule goat. And so I made this out of corn husks and red string. And I'm going to try and redo another one this year because I'm not happy with the way this turned out. And I have corn husks from my actual garden. So let me show you the difference between corn husks that you buy at the store, like in the in the Hispanic section, and then corn husks that you grow and keep yourself, because there's a lot more volume to them. Hey, Lisa Lane, it's been a long time. How are you? Nice to see you. Great to see you. Yes, Thomas, I got your message. Thank you very much for sending that. Okay, here we go. Where's the ones? Okay, I've got them now. Oh yeah. So these are the corn husks from Peggy's Corn, which are, as you can see, really voluminous and might make for a better ornament. But they've got like movement, texture, volume, all of that, okay? And then we grew them ourselves, which is just really cool. These are the ones that you'll get in the Hispanic section, and they're for Hispanic food section, and it's for like making tamales. And they are much different. They come like this. And you wet them, when you get these ones, you wet them so that they're pliable. And then they'll dry, or you can pop it in the dehydrator to re-dry it. And you know, you can make little corn dollies out of these. You can make poppets out of these. That was the word I was looking for. Such a simple word. Such a simple word. Poppets, doll babies, you know. Yep, good stuff. So, it's different, as you can see, the texture between the two. So maybe this year I'll have better luck using these ones, and the energy will make so much more sense. Alright, now let's talk about the next ornament. I probably should have made this into a separate video. That's okay. Because we're no longer talking about organ meats, bones, and exotic witchcraft things. But that's alright. It's the end. Another trucker. Come on. Go! We'll have to deal with that later. Okay. Ah, yes. So, one of my hardest projects last year for my... Oh, let's talk about what are you putting all of these ornaments on? Okay. I did a video on it. Norfolk Island pine. You can go to the Home Depot or your nursery maybe, but they do have them at Home Depot the last 2 years. And a potted, like in a pot, so that you can keep it inside and water it, an indoor Norfolk Island pine. Now I am going to take a minute to read a little bit out of Scotty's book about Norfolk Island pine, but I will tell you that I've done up a video just on Norfolk Island pine, I do believe. I do believe. Elemental P, right? Elemental P, Norfolk Island pine. So that's exactly what it looks like. So you go to the Home Depot and you get your Norfolk Island pine, and it's like 25 or 30 bucks. And I remember that you can also get them in Canada because Ash, the Storm Witch, who lives up in Canada, she works at the Home Depot, and she said that they had them and that they were like 35 bucks. I've recently learned that everything in Canada is very expensive. Alright, so it's cool because this is a tree that you can keep in your house all year round. Why would you want to do that? Well, let me tell you why. And I just decorated this little tree with my stuff. The gender is masculine. The planet is Mars. The element is fire. The powers are protection and anti-hunger. So it's going to protect you throughout the year. Magical uses. The Norfolk Island pine offers protection against hunger and evil spirits when grown in the home or near it. So, if you keep this all year round, not only do you not have to get a Christmas tree, but this is kind of like what I would see as like a classic Yule tree in my opinion. But I'm not going to use the word classic. I'm going to use the word perfect. Because classic would mean that everybody's done it for a long time, and I don't know if that's true. That's all it says about the Norfolk Island pine, but I've always felt that it is a big, like, protector of evil spirits and keeping those out of your home. So, I can't remember when Alex took it outside and planted it, or what he ever did with it, but we had it in the house for about 6 months after Christmas, and it was after Yule and Christmas, and it was just great. So, again, protection and anti-hunger. The Norfolk Island pine offers protection against hunger and evil spirits when grown in the home or near it. So, that's cool, because Christmas trees, the last time I checked, are like $100. $100. And, okay, if you guys do participate in getting Christmas trees everywhere, which I support, like, you know, whatever you need to do, but use it, like, use the wood for firewood. Use all the branches for your magical workings. Dismember that Christmas tree and get the most out of it. You could take all the branches down and make a big, giant, like, tied together, kind of like besom with it, and you could make, like, it wouldn't really be a broom shape, but you could still take that and, you know, like, let's just look up pine, okay, because I think pine is probably the most common Christmas tree. And then let's really quickly talk about elemental P, what you could do with pine afterwards. So we'll intuitively think about some things right now. Apparently I can't spell today. Okay, pine. So, I've done a video on pine. It's like 33 minutes long, and we talked about the cone, the needles, the branches, the nut, and the sap. Okay, because there's magical workings that are different for all of them. But let's talk about this real quick. So, the powers of the regular pine, which is probably one of the most common trees used for Christmas trees, I would say, isn't it? Like a variety of some sort of pine, even the Norfolk Island pine. So pine, the powers are healing, fertility, protection, exorcism, and money. Okay. Pine is also green. So maybe you wanted to make something to spread abundance through your home, abundance and money. Put all the branches together and just wave it through the air, you know, like bring that energy into the area. Or if you have a space that you work, kind of take it and wave it through there. Let's see, fertility. Put it in your fertility workings, absolutely. I would just say especially the cone and the pine nut for fertility. And then it's also talking about protection, exorcism, and healing. I like to do something with mugwort or wormwood. And I like to take fresh branches when I like to take fresh branches out of my garden and then take them in the bathroom and then get in the shower. And then when I come out of the shower, on my nude body, I take the branches and I just like, I don't hurt myself, but I just kind of like smack the plant all over my body. And this, I feel, is a really good way that I cleanse myself. I've always done that in one way or another with something, but when I learned about herbalism, I just switched it with herbs. Like I used to have a special towel that I thought would make me have good energy, you know, and then you learn magical herbalism and you're like, oh yeah, this much. So you could take, for, you know, protection, you could take the branches of the pine and you could just whap them on your chest, wherever you're feeling like you need that protection. Take the branches and lightly smack your body with them. But I would be in the know that pine does have sap, and that could get messy. So check out that pine video for sure, because I mean, I'm not going to go through, Scotty has a lot to say in there, but there's so much to be said for it, and I read from 10 or 12 books in the pine video, and I read everything I could find. So as much information as possible in there on pine. Now let's look some more decorations. These were some of the hardest things I did last year. The cranberries on the string. Now, remember I told you guys I was like, I don't know what's going to happen because I strung them when they were fresh. And I was like, oh, I'm sure they'll just dry on there. They did. They're not completely hard. It's funny, they're completely dried out. It's been a year. But they're not hard. Anyway, they're pretty. Pretty. Cranberry necklace. I dig it. Let me just put this on. I think that'll stay. See? You can do anything with herbs. Look how pretty that is. Nobody would even know that was cranberries and not black pearls. So I did a humongous string of cranberries and then juniper berries. Cranberry and juniper. And there was a reason for that. And I tell you guys about that in the DIY videos. Here's another one. And another one. So yeah, they did end up drying out all on there, which is fantastic. They look like little craisins. They're real craisins though. And then here's the juniper berries, which were already dried. They weren't fresh, they were dried juniper. Jennifer, Juniper. Do you guys know that song? Look at all this beautiful jewels. I love it. Look how pretty that is. Okay, so I did up some. What an appropriate time to talk about these, because I actually have fresh starfruit on the table. I was just about to cut up to get ready for the same thing. Starfruits for protection. And then I put them on some red wire, and I made just a thing where it can hang on the branch. And there's a DIY video on these. Not that it's not hard to figure out, but they don't always look pretty when you dry them. It's kind of a bummer sometimes, but as long as you've got your 5 points on that star, I feel like it's doing its job. So let's look at a star fruit, because I have one. I have two here. As you can see, It's a fruit that's the shape of a star, and when you cut it, you have stars. Now, I was going to eat one of these for internal protection, but they were 2 for $5, and I'm not going to be able to afford to get any more this year, so I'm going to cut them up and dry them. Plus, I don't super care for the taste of star fruit. It's not really the tastiest stuff in the world. In my opinion, it kind of tastes like a banana smells. Like a ripe banana. Way too ripe banana. Okay, so I've done that. I do have one more thing to show you guys of my ornaments from last year. So I did Christmas chicken's feet. So I found like a tendon to hook it onto and put a green bow and then red paint on the nails, if you can see that. And then opposite on the red ones. So the red ones have green nail polish. Because, as you probably could guess, because it's always like this with Easter and Ostara, Yule and Christmas, Samhain and Halloween. A lot of the colors of the common holiday match up with the witchcraft colors that we use for that holiday. And what I'm saying is that red and green are actually like Yule colors. Well, especially red and white, but are Yule colors from way back. And it's adopted by common practices, and it's so funny because it's like all these pagan holidays, you know, just mocked up to be a way to sell stuff, you know. So sad. Hey, Madam Butterfly, how are you? Yeah, I love my hair too, thanks. I'm so glad that you're here. It's great to see you. Lilacs and Lightning is here too. Look at all our friends are here. It's great to see you. Lisa says her boys love starfruit. You can never dry any out. They eat them like crazy. Yeah, you're going to have to put one in your purse and hide it and make sure not to squish it. Whenever I'm at the store, I'm always like, I like hand the lady the starfruits because I don't want them to get bruised or smushed because that can happen pretty easy. I'll say, these are so important to me that I'm not even going to eat them. I really need them to stay perfect. And then they make sure to either hand them back to me or put them on the top of the bag. But that's not something that you want to be floating around the bottom of the bag. So yeah, if anybody needs any Christmas chicken's feet ornaments, just let me know because I've got some, and I have more chicken's feet that, as you guys know, I'm going to be drying. They're going to be finished soon, hopefully. I'm not going to finish them in the salt. I'm going to finish them in the dehydrator. Because it's that time of year, and I can't wait another 6 weeks for them to cure in salt. And, you know, that's alright. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh. No. I think I've said it all. Yeah, so the channel is evolving. The channel is changing. It's not going to be just witchcraft stuff all the time like it has been the last 1,000 videos. We're now going to branch out into my artwork and my my various artworks and what I'm up to, as well as talking about, you know, more of my personal life and more of kind of what's going on with me, because I feel like that's an okay thing to do these days. Not personal, like super personal, but like just sharing a little bit more about me so that people understand me a bit more. So the channel is going to be doing some really exciting things. We're going to be creating some fan fiction. My mind is definitely still tacked onto witchcraft every single day. I just, my videos I want to be changing a little bit more. So, I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. Commercial? Commercial? What do you mean? Again, if you guys haven't seen the Patreon, because I'm still doing witchcraft working videos on Patreon, It's in the description below. Please go check it out. And you get to support the channel for as little as $1 to $5 a month, and also view all those wicked videos. I'm going to start work on my Oracle deck and finish this art piece behind me because I want it to be done today. I want those two things to be done today, and I know that that's a tall order, but even if I get one done and the next one done tomorrow, I'll still be happy about it. So, not putting too much on my plate because I don't want to get overwhelmed. But things are just going really, really good. And my hair is cheering me up. So there's that. Have a really beautiful evening or day, and I may see you again. Who knows? It's great seeing you guys. I love you very much. Thank you for bringing me out of my depression. If you guys weren't there worrying about me, who knows where I'd be, you know? All right. Love you all. See you soon. Peace out.